going on, everybody? Welcome back to Daily Football Zone. I'm your host, Keb. It's Thursday, March 24th. I got a special one for y'all tonight. It's my first mock draft of the year, Mr. 1.0, mock draft 1.0. You know, I started the channel back up. Took a couple months off. Really didn't cover the 2021 season, but we're back, and I'm just excited to talk NFL draft that's coming up. I'm excited to put out my first mock draft of the year, and you know it's a good one. I don't have any trades involved. It's not, and I know like certain players are going up and down in these mocks, and what's it called? It's not like, what would I say? It's not like what I'm doing with it is, it's not really what I predict, but what I think they should kind of do. I would say kind of both, like kind of like what I think they might do. But then if I was, I'm pretty much playing like the GM in this situation, where I think they should go, what direction. Obviously, mock drafts are never accurate. It's hard to tell who's interested in who and who lands where, especially when there's trades involved. So this one doesn't have any trades involved. I just did it straight up if there wasn't any, other than the trades that already happened. So, we can jump right into it. Obviously, the first pick is held by the Jacksonville Jaguars, and it's obviously, pretty much 99%. I would say 99, maybe like 94% of mock drafts out there are going with edge rusher Aiden Hutchinson from Michigan. He's he excels in the rush and pass game. He's like the complete package on the outside, and he has the strength and speed. He was also the highest graded edge in college from PFF. So, no question about it. Aiden Hutchinson is going to be the first overall pick. Obviously, things can change. They might change back. Maybe they don't want to go the direction, but they need someone to help on the outside with Josh Allen. Bringing in Aiden Hutchinson will also elevate Josh Allen's game. And when you got probably the best prospect in this draft, you got to pick it at number one. He has a high motor. He had 14 sacks in 2021, and then only played 3 games in 2020, but 6 sacks in 2019. So the production's there. He had 3 sacks in 3 different games in 2021. So he's a high motor kid. Freakish athlete. He's just a complete package, and I can't see the Jaguars not drafting Aiden Hutchinson if they decide to stay at the number 1 overall pick. We can get into number 2, and again, a lot of people got different players. Some people say Kyle Hamilton. I don't see a Lions drafting a safety with the 2nd overall pick. I think it might be a little too early, so I'm just gonna go with another edge rusher, which would be Kayvon Thibodeaux from Oregon. He's a freakish athlete too. He can obviously help the Lions defensive line. They have Romeo Okwara, who only played in 4 games in 2021, and then also Charles Harris. So, I think putting Kayvon Thibodeaux, there's never enough pass rushers. Obviously, you can rotate your pass rushers and keep them energized, and if someone needs to catch a breath, you always rotate. So bringing in a talent like Thibodeaux would obviously help the Lions defense. He's a 6'5", 258-pound freakish athlete. He had 3 sacks in the championship game against Utah in 2019. He had 9 sacks in 11 games last season. Only 3 sacks in 7 games, and then 10 sacks in his 2019 campaign. But he also suffered an injury last year. But he's obviously good to go. So I can see Lions addressing that need with the 2nd overall pick. But we can get straight into the 3rd overall pick, which is held by the Houston Texans. And I got them targeting offensive tackle Evan Neal from Alabama. Obviously, there's going to be, speculations as who's going to be the first tackle off the board, if it's Evan Neal or Ike Ekwonu from NC State. But I rolled with Evan Neal. He has a lot of speed for his size. He's 6'7", 350. The concerns of him losing weight, because obviously he doesn't look like he's like 350 pounds, but that's probably just all naturally built muscle and frame as well, because he's 6'7", so obviously the frame's going to add weight to it. But yeah, some people of the is their weight concern, but he has a lot. Yeah, he has a lot of speed for his size, and the experience. He has experience at left tackle, and then in 2020 he played right tackle, and he also played left guard in 2019. So he's the type of piece where if say someone goes down, you can always rotate him into a different position. He can play. Like I said, he played 3 different positions in his college career, so he can be a valuable piece to that offensive line with Laramie Tunsil. He's only given up 5 sacks in 3 years, and there's no more than two in each season. So, he's a outstanding, freakish offensive tackle that can help Davis Mills. If they decide to stick with Davis Mills, it can elevate his game if he has time to throw. Also helping the run game. So I could see Evan Neal possibly being the 3rd overall pick by the Houston Texans. We can go straight into the 4th. I said it was kind of early to get a safety, but Ahmad Gardner's obviously a corner. But I got Jets going Ahmad Sauce Gardner from Cincinnati, the cornerback. I say, I won't say it's too early at 4, but the Jets can always use another corner. I mean, they signed DJ Reed in free agency, but the other corners you got is Brandon Echols, Bryce Hall, and Michael Carter II. Obviously, Sauce Gardner's a stud. He's never allowed a TD in college. And he's had 3 interceptions in each season, allowed a 22.6 passer rating when targeted in 2021. So I could see them, elevating that secondary. Obviously, you signed Jordan Whitehead, so that addresses the safety need. So that's why I decided to go with Ahmad Gardner than Kyle Hamilton. Some might think it's early for Gardner, but again, I'm going based off what I think they should do. If I have them at 4, maybe they trade. You never know, they might trade back and get Gardner at 10th or something. You don't know. That's why it's the tricky thing with trades, because you really don't know what's going to happen on draft day, who's going to trade for what, and who's going to trade where. So I'll roll with Ahmad Gardner at the 4th overall pick to the New York Jets. Now we can get to another New York team at the 5th overall, and I had them getting offensive tackle Ikem Ekwonu from NC State. He's great at run run blocking. He might be a raw prospect, but he can obviously elevate his game. He can grow on that offensive line, and pair with Andrew Thomas, who they also selected in the 1st round. I believe it was in 2020. So obviously, if you decide to roll with Daniel Jones, I'm sure he would love to have Ike Ekwonu blocking for him. And so with Saquon Barkley, because obviously it's been hard for Saquon Barkley to stay healthy, but also find holes in the running game. He seems like he's getting stuffed a lot. Fantasy owners are getting fed up, specifically me, because I drafted him 2nd overall in 2020, and then I decided fuck it, I was 12th overall this past year, and I said at 12th I thought that was a decent value, even though I was kind of telling myself not to draft him again, but I did it again and it let me down once again. So I'm sure if it's Daniel Jones, I'm sure he would love to bring in Ekwonu, and so would Saquon Barkley. We can go into the 6th overall pick, which is held by my favorite team, the Carolina Panthers. I'm rolling the dice with this. I'm saying they go with quarterback Malik Willis from Liberty. It's just the question mark is, what do you do with Darnold? If they decide to stick with Darnold, you can either have them battle it out, maybe have Willis sit a year to just learn defenses, and because he played from. He's coming from Liberty, so it's a small school, not playing top-notch talent week in and week out. So, and the question mark is, they haven't ruled out bringing back Cam Newton. It's been in reports that they would bring him back. So, it's really a question mark of what they plan to do at the quarterback position. But all is they got to do something with the quarterback position, because David Tepper and Matt Rule have failed to address that and make the right decisions when it comes to the quarterback position. So I got them going with Malik Willis, who had a impressive pro day. I believe that was yesterday, might be 2 days ago. I'm off of my time, but he had impressive pro day. He's very athletic, so you can if it's sitting a year, or maybe just have him battle it out, and if they decide to sit him a year, or he might be the starter for week 1, you never know. But I got Panthers roll Malik Willis, and this is Matt Rule's, I say, final straw. If he doesn't get it done this year, David Tepper got to fire him and start fresh again. And as an owner, that's really frustrating, because you invested $60 million, I believe it was 7 years, $60 million, or $70 million. It was something big for a college coming out of a coach coming out of college. Then you also had about his contract at Baylor, so they got to get their their shit together in Charlotte, because it's looking kind of pathetic with how they've run things these past couple of years and how they dealt the quarterback position, because you gave up a 2nd and a 4th and a 6th round pick for Sam Darnold, and it seems like he might just be out the door too. He might just be out the door with Matt Rule, because if he looks like he's not going to pan out, Matt Rule's not going to pan out. So yeah, I got them going with Malik Willis as the final attempt to get the quarterback straight from Matt Rule. So that's who I got with the Carolina Panthers picking at 6th overall. With the 7th overall pick, we got the Giants again via Chicago. And I got them going with edge, Trayvon Walker, Georgia. I know he's been skyrocketing on mock drafts. Some people have him going top 3, top 5. Again, I'm going off what I think their need is, and you can also replace him with Thibodeau and swap him. Walker could go second, and then Thibodeau go 7th. You never know, obviously, but I decided to go this route where Walker falls to 7. And he ran a 4.51 at the combine. His 40 time. He had 5 sacks in 2021. He can line up on the outside, and he's lined up in the inside at times for Georgia. He's very versatile. So I could see Giants deciding to beef up their defensive line. Obviously, they need better pass attack, better pass rush. So yeah, I decided to go Trayvon Walker at number 7 for the New York Giants. Now number 8, like I said, a lot of people have Kyle Hamilton even going in the 5th, but I had him fall down to 8 for Atlanta, and that's kind of surprising because obviously they're looking for a quarterback now, and obviously receiver as well, where you have Zaccheaus and Frank Darby are like the 2 guys really at receiver for the Falcons. But I had him going Kyle Hamilton. I can't see them letting him fall even more with how I did this mock draft. I can't see him falling, especially falling out of the top 10. So I had him go 8. You compare him with Richie Grant, who's going into his 2nd year, and then AJ Terrell is still in that secondary. You're going up against Tom Brady still, and Jameis Winston. So, and then obviously Carolina, who could be playing from behind most of the year. So they're going to be throwing the ball. I don't see why, if you have the talent like Kyle Hamilton at 8th overall, just go for it. And things can change, obviously. This obviously could change because there's still free agent wide receivers they can target, like bringing back Julio Jones or targeting Jarvis Landry, who I believe had a visit or was interested in Atlanta. Also, Will Fuller, OBJ, AJ Green, T.Y. Hilton. So there's still some receivers out there that the Falcons could target. And then also, I was thinking maybe moving Cordero Patterson mainly back to receiver, and then utilize Mike Davis at running back. That's also a possibility for the Atlanta Falcons when it comes to the receiver needs. But yeah, I can't see Kyle Hamilton falling down past 8. He's a hybrid safety. He can play in the slot, play deep and in the box. So I don't see why they wouldn't use his talent on their defense side of the ball. We can go in the 9th overall pick. This one's a tricky one too. I've seen reports that they might be invested in Drew Lock. You trade for him, so I'm sure they might want to build around Drew Lock. If they want to go quarterback, they can go maybe in the 2nd round and find a guy, because obviously it's not really QB heavy this draft. Not a lot are projected even go in the 1st round, so you can probably get somebody in day 2. But I got them going offensive tackle Charles Cross from Mississippi State. This is the 9th overall pick they got in the Russell Wilson trade with Denver. But Russell Wilson never really had a good offensive line in Seattle, and I see them finally addressing it when he's out of Seattle, obviously. But he's a dominant pass protector that they need. That he could play left tackle for them. He's only allowed 2 sacks last year, so for Mississippi State. So I can see Seattle wanting to protect Drew Lock if Drew Lock's the guy, or if they decide to get somebody day 2. But their offense ain't gonna run without pass protection and then a run game. So I got them going Charles Cross, and I think that's a decent value at 9, which some got Carolina going Charles Cross as well at 6. So it really just depends. But I got Charles Cross at the 9th overall for Seattle. We can go into number 10, which is the Jets that they got via Seattle with the Jamal Adams trade. And I got them going with wide receiver Garrett Wilson from Ohio State. They missed out on Tyreek Hill, so it's obviously trying to address that wide receiver need. I mean, you still got Elijah Moore and you got Corey Davis, but who would be the number 3 guy? Braxton Berrios? I don't see them using him mainly in the slot. He can play in the slot, but he's mainly like a special teams guy. But that's why I felt like they're going for Tyreek Hill. They'll obviously elevate Zach Wilson's game, but they failed at doing that. So I see them going, with Garrett Wilson. He can play in the slot and on the outside. He ran a 4.38 40, so he has that speed just like Tyreek Hill. Obviously not as fast as Tyreek Hill, but he got that speed as well. So I can see them targeting Garrett Wilson, and that's good value at 10. We go number 11 with the Washington Commanders, and I'm going with another linebacker for the Commanders. Obviously they drafted Jamin Davis, so I got them going back-to-back years with a linebacker in the 1st round, and that's with linebacker Devin Lloyd from Utah. Some think they can do receiver, but Curtis Samuel's going to come back healthy, and they got Diami Brown, coming back for a second year, and then obviously you got Terry McLaurin. So I see them not, with Garrett Wilson. If they miss out on him, I see them going linebacker with Devin Lloyd. You compare him with Jamin Davis, and right now they have Cole Holcomb at the will and David Mayo at the Sam. So I don't see them both of them starting. Maybe not David Mayo, maybe Cole Holcomb, but not David Mayo. You can put Lloyd in that place. And Lloyd's the best linebacker in this draft. He can take on blocks, he can blitz and cover tight ends. He didn't run great at the 40 in the combine. It was like a 4.71, I believe it was. But that doesn't. You see him on film, you see him on the field. He looks faster than that, and I can see Washington using him on defense to beef up that defense, because their defense was kind of a letdown compared to what the expectations from it going from 2020 to 2021. Like, that was going to be a top defense, but they obviously didn't play to what everyone thought they would. So Devin Lloyd would obviously help that defense. Ron Rivera loves his linebackers, so Devin Lloyd, pair him with Jamin Davis. Hopefully he can get that Luke Kuechly Thomas Davis combo type in Washington that he had so many years with in Carolina. He's trying to rebuild that in Washington, and I say they get Devin Lloyd. We can go into pick number 12, though. That's the Minnesota Vikings drafting cornerback Derek Stingley Jr. out of LSU. He had the highest coverage grade in the NCAA as a true freshman. He needs to stay healthy because he only played 3 games in 2021. He had 7 games in 2020. As a freshman, he looked like he'd be a top corner in this draft. I mean, I still have him as the number 2, but he needs to stay healthy. But the talent's there. Minnesota desperately needs help in the secondary. You don't got Patrick Peterson there anymore either. So I say they roll with Derek Stingley Jr. at number 12 overall. We can go on the 13th overall pick, though, and that's the Texans that they got from the Deshaun Watson trade with Cleveland. And that's edge Jermaine Johnson II out of Florida State. He's also been skyrocketing in drafts, looking like he could be a top 10 prospect as well, but I have him, at 13 for now. He was a standout at the Super Bowl. At the Super Bowl, he was a standout at the Senior Bowl. He had 14 sacks last year. They can also use help in the pass rush. I had them addressing the offensive line, and with the first pick they had at 3rd overall with Evan Neal, and them two might be battling it out in camp. I could see Jermaine Johnson being a help to that defense. But with the 14th overall pick, the Baltimore Ravens addressing cornerback need with Trent McDuffie out of Washington. They lost Tavon Young and then Jimmy Smith as well. And Jimmy Smith's obviously a 33-year-old cornerback, but you got Marcus Peters coming off injury. He's also getting older. So you can always have more corners, especially when you're in a division like the AFC North, where you're going up against Deshaun Watson and Joe Burrow. And then I'll throw Mitch Trubisky in there, obviously, but you can always use more corners, especially when you lose Jimmy Smith and Tavon Young. He plays bigger than his size. McDuffie, he's a 5'11", 195, but he plays bigger than his size. Obviously, he didn't allow no more than 39 yards in the game last year with a passer rating of 52 that he allowed. So, and he also hasn't allowed a touchdown since 2019. So, he's obviously a standout corner. They can also go defensive tackle, but I think it might be too early at 14. Maybe if they decide to trade back. But, they got Michael Pierce. But, he's obviously might not be the long-term answer. So, I can't remember if it was a 1-year deal for Michael Pierce or if it was a 3-year. I just know they brought him back. But, they can go defensive tackle or they can go corner. But I think with Trent McDuffie at 14 would be the right move. Especially, you're going up against Joe Burrow. And, they have a great trio of receivers in Cincinnati. And then, I feel like they need to address that position at 14. But with the 15th overall pick, I got the Eagles drafting Nakobe Dean from Georgia, and that's via Miami with the trade that they had last year. Some got Nakobe Dean, later in the first, and again, this can be a pick they might decide to move back because they have 3 in the first round. They got 1 at 16 as well, and then 19. So, I decided to roll with Nakobe Dean at 15, though. Say they do trade back, like I feel like they'll target Nakobe Dean either way. He reacts with elite quickness, very fast. They lost Alex Singleton, and right now their linebackers are looking like it's Davion Taylor, TJ Edwards, and then they signed Hassan Reddick. So they need to address the linebacker position, obviously, especially with the loss to Alex Singleton, who he led the team like twice in the past 3 years with tackles, but I still think getting Kobe Dean is an upgrade over him anyway. So letting him walk, I think, is a sign that they probably will go linebacker. If Devin Lloyd falls to 15, I think maybe they go Devin Lloyd. So it really just depends on how the draft board pans out. But I got them going to Kobe Dean with the 15th overall pick. But speaking of the Eagles again, this is the pick they got from Carson Wentz from Indianapolis, and then Carson Wentz was obviously traded this past couple weeks to Washington. So they're using this pick to snag defensive tackle Jordan Davis from Georgia. So two Georgia boys back to back. He's obviously was a talk of the combine, running a 4.78 40. So they signed Fletcher Cox back to a 1-year deal, but obviously he's getting older, and with a 1-year deal, I could see them maybe going Jordan Davis to replace him eventually. Maybe learn from him in 1 year, and then obviously let him go and then roll with Jordan Davis. He's a 6'6" freakish athlete at 340 pounds. So, they can obviously address the defensive tackle need and pair him with Fletcher Cox to learn under him for 1 year. So I got them rolling with Jordan Davis at 16th overall. But we can get to the 17th pick, and that's where I got the Chargers drafting wide receiver Drake London out of USC. That's also another guy where they got him going possibly at the top 10, top 11, 12 picks. Some might think Washington might get him instead of me giving them a linebacker, but how my draft board panned out, because again, this is not what I think is going to happen really, but what I think they need to address. So Drake London somehow fell to 17 with the Chargers, and I think that's a great value for them. He's a local kid, would stay in LA, playing for USC, stay in LA with the Chargers. He broke his ankle in 2021, played 8 games, but in those 8 games, he recorded 88 catches for 1,084 yards and 7 touchdowns in 8 games. So, he's a stud at receiver. Put him with Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. Justin Herbert would, I would say Justin Herbert might have an MVP season if he can have those 3 guys at receiver. And then, they address the needs on their defense. If Drake London was there at 17, no doubt they're gonna snag Drake London to make that trio, even make that great wide receiver trio for Justin Herbert. But we can go into 18. I got the New Orleans Saints drafting another wide receiver on the board, wide receiver Jameson Williams. I'm thinking of Jameis Winston. Jameson Williams from Alabama, which Jameis Winston would be throwing the ball to, but he tore his ACL in the championship game, so he's going to miss some time. But he caught 78 receptions for over 1,500 yards and 15 touchdowns last season. He's a deep threat receiver. Who knows what they're going to do if they decide to snag a receiver in free agency. I know they had interest in Marquez Valdes-Scantling, but he just signed with the Kansas City Chiefs today. So obviously they're looking at receiver. Michael Thomas' future is questionable because I don't even know if he wants to stay in New Orleans. He's made tweets. Obviously, when Deshaun Watson picked Cleveland, he posted a tweet that looked like, he's not happy in New Orleans. So who really knows what they're going to do with Michael Thomas if he decides to be a Saint, or if he plays for the Saints still, if they decide to trade him. Who knows? I really don't know. But right now, it looks like Marquez Callaway and Deontay Harris are their wide receivers. And Jameis Winston's obviously going to need a playmaker like Jameson Williams to, obviously elevate his game as well. He's gonna miss some time, but he might come back later in the year. Might be able to return late in the year, possibly if they're on like a playoff run, trying to play for the playoffs. They can he might be able to come in and help that offense, but we'll see. It seems like players are healing faster these days, so who really knows when Jameson Williams will make his NFL debut? But hopefully we'll get to see him in 2022. We can go in the 19th overall pick. We got the Philadelphia Eagles back on the board. And this is their original pick. I got them going with cornerback Andrew Booth Jr. out of Clemson. You got Darius Slay and Avonte Maddox as the number 1 and 2, but you can use another stout corner. They need a number 3 if it's Andrew Booth Jr. I don't see why not. They lost Steven Nelson in free agency. Booth played better in 2020 compared to 21, but he's still a stud and was a key piece to that Clemson defense. So I got the Eagles addressing that need. But we can go into pick number 20. We got the Pittsburgh Steelers drafting defensive tackle Devontae White out of Georgia, another Georgia defensive player, another Georgia defensive tackle off the board. Obviously, they got a lot of talent in Georgia. They just won the national championship. So, of course, they're in a lot of their studs. They're entering the draft are going to get chosen. He had a dominant Senior Bowl. He's an explosive athlete. Some say he's more explosive than Jordan Davis. So, being the size, Devontae Wyatt is, he can, rush the passer. He had 4 sacks in 2021 and 17 hurries. So, he may be getting double teamed, but obviously he can still cause havoc to the opposing offense. The defense obviously need to address the interior defensive line. You got Tyson Alu there, who's obviously getting older, and they go up against good running backs in the AFC North, like Joe Mixon. You got Najee Harris going into his second season, and then you got Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. So you don't want to get ran all over, even though you got a good defense already. But you don't want to get ran all over by those guys. So bringing in Devontae Wyatt will help that defensive line, help against the run game, and I don't see why they wouldn't target Devontae Wyatt at 20 if he's still on the board. Some might think they still might go quarterback, even though they gave Mitch Trubisky a 2-year deal. But again, it's not a quarterback-heavy draft, so I got Devontae Wyatt being that guy at defensive tackle, especially if there's no trades in this mock draft. At 21, I got the New England Patriots drafting wide receiver Chris Olave from Ohio State. Local San Diego County native. I'm located in San Diego County. It's high school not that far from where I live, so he went to Mission Hills High School that's located in San Marcos, California. Same high school that linebacker Fred Warner from the 49ers went to. Obviously different years, they didn't go to school together, but they went to the same high schools. Fun fact for people that are local. That'll give Mac Jones more talent to throw to. Jameson Williams is here on the board. Obviously, I think they'd go Jameson Williams, but I had him going to New Orleans. But I'm sure they would like to put to pair Mac Jones back with Jameson Williams. Obviously, they played together in Alabama, so. But that happened in this mock draft. So I got Chris Olave from Ohio State landing in New England. He's a deep threat with explosive speed. He's a good route runner. He had 100+ yards in 5 out of 7 games in 2020, and he also had 8 straight games with touchdowns in 2021, which he ended up having 13 total. So he's a big playmaker that can help the Patriots offense, because obviously, man, what receivers they got there, like Nelson Aguilar and Jacoby Myers, N'Keal Harry hasn't panned out. I'm surprised they haven't traded him. I guess they're working through the problems there. But if they got Chris Olave at 21, I'd be stoked if I was Patriot fans. Mac Jones had a pretty good rookie year. So to have someone like Chris Olave in his second year, you can expect a lot, probably, a bunch of big plays between the two. We'll go on to pick number 22. That's owned by the Green Bay Packers via Las Vegas. That they got from the Davante Adams trade, and since they lost Davante Adams, the pick they got from it, I got them replacing them with wide receiver Treylon Burks out of Arkansas. He's a 6'3", 225-pound receiver, but he has good size, good speed for his size. So, he had 65 receptions for 1,100 yards and 11 touchdowns in 2021. So I'm sure Aaron Rodgers would love to have a guy like Treylon Burks who has, good size. Davante Adams had good size and speed. So to get somebody to replace him that like Treylon Burks, who has good size and speed, like I'm sure Aaron Rodgers would be stoked. Obviously the Packers been drafting weird these past couple years, so who knows what they might do. But they drafted Jordan Love in 2020 just to give Rodgers another big contract. So who knows what they might do. If they don't go receiver here, I don't know what they're doing. I'd be mad if I was Aaron Rodgers if they don't go receiver right here. They still got another pick in the first round, but we got Treylon Burks available at 22. Chris Olave was just picked. It's a deep receiver class, and Treylon Burks, he's there at 22. You got to snag him for Aaron Rodgers, because they got nobody in Green Bay really other than like Randall Cobb. I believe they signed a receiver too today, but I can't remember who it was. But even it was somewhere not that big. So like obviously we're going with Treylon Burks at 22. The 23rd overall pick, I got the Arizona Cardinals drafting guard Zion Johnson from Boston College. They can go center here too, because Rodney Hudson's getting old, and Linderbaum's still on the board. But I'm gonna go with guard, because guard's still a position they need. They got Justin Pugh, who's also Justin Pugh. How you say it, Pugh? Justin Pugh. He's getting older too, and he's I believe left guard. But the right guard's still a missing piece, and I can see them going with Zion Johnson if he's available at 23 to protect Kyler Murray, who obviously can scramble, but they also got a good run game with James Conner. But he needs to be able to throw the ball, and he's only allowed 1 sack, 2 hits, and 3 hurries last year. He also played left tackle in 2020, so he's a guy that if someone gets hurt, you can move him around. He's a versatile key piece that could play multiple positions if you need him to. But we can go into pick 24, which is who I just spoke of. Dallas Cowboys drafting center Tyler Linderbaum out of Iowa. The offensive line hasn't been the same since Travis Frederick retired. He only allowed, Linderbaum only allowed 2 sacks since 2019. He's the highest grade center in the nation by PFF. I don't see why you wouldn't go Tyler Linderbaum. You lost Lael Collins. Tyrone Smith's getting old. You also lost Connor Williams. They got to address that offensive line, and you start off with getting your key piece with Tyler Linderbaum. They can, at 24, that's good value for them. I don't see why they wouldn't snag them right there because, their offensive line hasn't been the same since Travis Frederick retired, and that can be Travis Frederick's actual replacement right here. But we can go in the 25th overall pick, and I got the Buffalo Bills getting, I'm going to say, defensive back Daxton Hill out of Michigan because he can play safety, but he can also play corner because he played a lot in the slot. They lost Levi Wallace, but, they got a good pair of safeties with Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer. But, Micah Hyde's not getting any younger, so, if you decide to play Daxton Hill in the slot or at number 2, and then depending on Micah Hyde's future, you can eventually bump him back to safety. After that, who really knows what they can do with him? Because again, he's a versatile guy that can play in the slot, play at safety. If they decide to roll him on the outside, I'm sure he can do it. So I got the Buffalo Bills addressing the defensive back need with Daxton Hill, and you can put him with Tre'Davious White, who's also coming off injury. So that's what the route I'm going with 25. Some might think they get a running back, but I don't see a running back going in the first round. With the 26th overall pick, I got the Tennessee Titans going with guard Kenyon Green from Texas A&M. They moved on from Roger Saffold, so the guard position's a need. He played every position on the offensive line in 2021 except for the center position. So again, he's another offensive line guy that can, be moved around if needed. And he's very versatile. He can protect Ryan Tannehill, but also, help Derrick Henry in the run game. And you trade for Robert Woods, and you're getting Derrick Henry back from injury. I'm sure that offense, is going to look explosive. And bringing in Kenyon Green is only going to help it look explosive because you need protection. So that's the route I went with. Tennessee Titans at 26. At 27, I got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers getting edge George Karlaftis from Purdue, and he's another guy that some think he might go in the 20s, maybe in the teens. Like he's a very good edge rusher. He's versatile as well. He can replace Jason Pierre-Paul if they decide not to bring him back. He's a free agent, but JPP is getting older as well. I know they got the guy from Washington last year. His name's not coming to my mind right now. Joe Tryon. So you can help beef up that O-line. Ndamukong Suh is also a free agent, so their D-line is going to need to be addressed. I know they got Vita Vea, but they're still going to need edge rushers, and that'll also help out their secondary if they can get pressure on the quarterback and stop the run. So I got them going George Karlaftis at 27. I think that's good value for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are obviously trying to play for the Super Bowl again because Tom Brady came back knowing that he wants another ring. So helping them out on defense will for sure help Tom Brady on offense. But the 28th overall pick is held by the Green Bay Packers, their original pick. I got them going wide receiver again. I got them helping Aaron Rodgers, and that's with wide receiver Jahan Dotson from Penn State. He's been rising on draft boards. He may be 5'11", 184, but he's a very difficult receiver to cover. I see them going another receiver because you lose Devontae Adams, you lose MVS. St. Brown went to the Bears, I believe. So you need more depth there. And if you're going to give Rodgers this big contract, you need to make him happy and go with some wide receivers in the first round, especially with this talented wide receiver class. Dotson could be that speedy guy, that Aaron Rodgers needs. We can go on the 29th overall pick, which is by the Chiefs, which, they got for Tyreek Hill. That was from Miami. That was originally San Francisco's. I got them going with wide receiver Sky Moore from Western Michigan. I know their front office is really high on Sky Moore. It seems like Western Michigan can just produce receivers. But, could he be Tyreek Hill's replacement? I'm not going to say that. Obviously, I'm not going to say he's Tyreek level of talent, but obviously because he's just entering the league. But he has a ceiling, he has potential, and he could be that guy. He broke 26 tackles last year. That was a FBS high. So he's hard to take down, and he makes defenders miss. So I can see them going Sky Moore because the other receivers you got is Mecole Hardman, Josh Gordon, and then you sign MVS today, Marquez Valdes-Scantling to a 3-year deal worth $30 million. But none of those guys are Tyreek Hill. I'm not even gonna say Sky Moore's Tyreek Hill, but he's he can be that guy that Patrick Mahomes can go to. Obviously, in the quick pass game, obviously can make defenders miss. So I can see them addressing that position with the 29th overall pick if they don't get more guys in free agency. I got them going Sky Moore at 29. Now with the 30th overall pick, which is also the Chiefs, I got them going with edge Boy Mafe from Minnesota. They need a better pass rush, and why not do it with Boy Mafe to put on that defensive line with guys like Chris Jones. He had a great Senior Bowl. He was a Senior Bowl standout, and he had 7 sacks in 2021. Minnesota's not a big school, but he's a very talented guy that can cause havoc for the Chiefs against opposing defenses. So I got them addressing the edge position and going Boy Mafe with the 30th overall pick. But we got 2 more picks to go, and that's 31, which is the Cincinnati Bengals. I got them going cornerback Kaiir Elam from Florida. He's a long physical corner. He did give up 7 penalties last year, but he only gave up 19 catches. So they can address the cornerback position. Obviously, again, you're going up against Deshaun Watson and Lamar Jackson, and you need obviously use as many corners as you can. So I got them going Kaiir Elam with the 31st overall pick. I know they're interested in Stephon Gilmore. Stephon Gilmore still hasn't made a choice. So obviously they're looking at helping that secondary. And if they don't end up getting Gilmore, I got them going Elam with the 31st overall pick. And with the last pick is the Detroit Lions that they got from the Los Angeles Rams. I got them going quarterback Matt Corral from Ole Miss. He had an ankle injury in the Sugar Bowl, but he should be good for 2022. He could sit a year behind Goff. Again, this draft class isn't that great. Maybe some of these guys need to develop and sit a year behind, sit a year or 2 behind these quarterbacks like Kansas City did for Mahomes. And, you always hear the story about that, and now it seems like it's the popular thing to do is having a quarterback sit a year behind a veteran. You saw Trey Lance do that with San Francisco last year with Jimmy Garoppolo, and now they look like, Jimmy Garoppolo might be on the move, and it's Trey Lance time in San Francisco. But I can see the Detroit Lions doing that as well with the 32nd overall pick. Matt Corral's on the board. He'd be the second quarterback drafted in the first round for this year. I don't see why not. They can. Jared Goff might not be the long-term answer at quarterback. I know they traded for him when they got Matthew Stafford to LA. So I got them. It depends really. Jared Goff didn't play great, obviously, in with Detroit this past year, but he didn't play. Obviously they're still rolling with him, but yeah, I got Matt Corral battling it out with him in camp and possibly just sitting a year, learn the offense and learn how to be an NFL quarterback. But yeah, that's pretty much my first mock draft. I hope y'all like it. Let me know what y'all think. Obviously, again, I don't think it's gonna exactly be like that because obviously. We got mock drafts going, people high and low, like people falling and people rising each day with these mock drafts. So you really don't know who's gonna go where. Obviously, you got the for sure guys like Aiden Hutchinson, and you got like Evan, like obviously these guys like Evan Neal, Kyle Hamilton, is gonna go in the top 5 to 10, and then some people might slip in, some might slip out. So it really just depends on what teams decide to do. It wasn't a trade mock draft either. What I think could possibly happen with trades, but I kept it short. I kept it easy for y'all. Feel free to like, share, subscribe to the channel. Let me know who your favorite team might do, what you think. Let me know your comments on what I thought your favorite team might do as well. Appreciate the feedback. This was a fun one. Plan on doing more. Again, I plan on also doing a Daily Football Zone live mock draft with the FC crew where we're gonna take turns making picks. We're gonna pop up a draft simulator on here, so we're planning on doing that soon. But I wanted to get my own personal mock draft out before that, and obviously that one's gonna be way different than what I got on here. But yeah, again, feel free to share, like, subscribe, and leave a comment. I love the feedback. Love talking and engaging with people about football talk. That's why I'm doing this. So um, yeah, until then, I plan on maybe doing a second one probably within a couple weeks as we get closer. My goal is maybe to do like 3. Nah, I'll say because it's coming up, man. So I'd say maybe 3 to 5 by then. Because again, each week it seems like things change, and you never know. Obviously, it's gonna change when free agency still going on and teams addressing needs, and uh, it seems like players are rising and falling in all these mock drafts that are coming from all these media outlets like ESPN and CBS Sports and all that. So things are obviously going to change from this time next month as we get closer. So um, it's in Las Vegas this year. They also announced today that the draft in 2023 is going to be in Kansas City from April 27th through 29th, I believe it was. I could be wrong about those dates, but I think those are correct. But you got the Las Vegas draft this year. I'm probably not going to make that any closer, so I didn't really plan for it. I planned for it back in 2022 when COVID hit, and I had my hotel booked and everything, but things happen, and it ended up not happening. So I was lucky I was able to get my refund on my hotel and all that. So it sucked I didn't get to do it then, and probably not going to do it this year. Didn't really plan for it. I got plans for other things that's going on in my life, obviously. So again, thank you for everyone that's going to tune in and watch. Give me feedback. Let me know. Feel free to leave comments. Leave all the comments y'all want. What y'all think about each pick, and see y'all next time. And looking forward to doing another mock draft. I hope y'all have a great night and stay tuned. And thank you again. I need to find my video.